Hey ladies, it's Lori Nielsen again. I am back with one more tutorial for you tonight. This one is on stray pixels. So I wanted to show you how this action works that I have sent to some of you that have Photoshop. So this first part of this action is pretty much the same. It shows you stray pixels in a 3-point radius, and then in a smaller one I would check them with the 3-point because it helps the small ones show up a little bit, and it's in 2 different colors. You can stroke in red or blue depending on which you can see better. Some people just like one over the other. So I'm just going to use the stroke red 3-point. This is just a slide picture frame that is one of our elements, and I just wanted to kind of show you how this action worked. If you look at this is in 100% view. You can see up here, so it's in full resolution and looks good. You don't really see anything. If you run the action on it, you can see right up here in this top corner, there's a little bit of the background that was not fully extracted, right? So you can see that little red dot of the piece up in the corner. So if I move that over, you can see that there's a little piece of the background that did not get fully extracted when this frame was extracted. So there's a couple ways that you can get rid of it. You can use your eraser tool, obviously. Just click on that and it goes away. And I find it easier to do the cleanup with the stroke on because it's easier to see where they are, obviously. If I take that off, you can see that you can't even see that there's anything there because it is a white background, and you're on the transparent background in a white corner, it's not showing at all. So with that stroke on, you can see that that's there. The other way to do it, if you don't want to do it manually, is the smooth edge action that I showed you guys how to work earlier. It is part of this same action. And if you just run it with the stroke on, I'm going to just hit my F2 key because I've got it set up to do that. So hit my F2 key and it does the smoothing and it gets rid of that. So if you've got little tiny stray pixels and you've got an element like this that has fairly straight edges, it works really good with flowers, ribbons, scatters. I've used it on frames, like anything that's big. If you've got a ribbon that's got a little thread that's like hanging off the end, you wouldn't want to use it that way. You'd want to use your eraser tool because if you run the smoothing action, it will erase that little thread. Obviously on stitching and threads, the smoothing action doesn't work very well because it will erase too much of your stitching and not smooth it. So you would want to smooth it by hand. So now that's cleaned up. You just clear the layer style so that you don't have the stroke on there any longer and resave your element. I wanted to show you these as well. So if you look at this tape, we're going to look at this one first. I am going to run the action on it, and because it's transparent, you can see like everything shows up red, not just around the outside, because it is a transparent element. And I don't know if you can see right there, there's a little tiny red dot. So this is the other thing that I wanted to show you. This opened up at print size. And so you always want to check your elements at the 100% actual pixels. So if we increase that to actual pixels, there you go. You can see that we've got this stray here. And then you can also see, now that we've got it zoomed in, you can see that there are strays, quite a bit of them. You can see along that top edge, there's quite a few. Along this edge, there's quite a few. So we've got strays all over. This is kind of a messy element. And you may think that's not going to really matter. No one's going to notice that. But if I take that off and drag it over to my background, you can see that. So if someone's using a light background, that's going to show up. If they add a shadow or a stroke to the element, I don't know why anyone would really add a stroke to an element, but if they add a shadow to the element, that's going to show up even more. Let me do that real quick so you can see. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see that there's more of a shadow around that now that we've got that shadow added to our element. So that's something that you would want to clean up on your element. So I'm going to go back and turn this on. Now, this is something that the smoothing action is not going to work really well on. And let me show you why. If I run that smoothing action on it, I'm actually going to take this off while I run it so that you can see. Because it's a transparent element, it's tape, you're going to have an issue. So if I run my smoothing action, there we go. It just takes everything away and it totally disappears. So I'm going to undo that real quick. So this is something that you're going to need to either clean up by hand, contact the designer that made it and have them fix it for you, or just get rid of it. So you take your eraser tool, and you're just going to go around your edges and clean this up, which is going to be time consuming. So that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. But that is something that you're going to want to do to make a good quality product. Here's another piece of tape. I'm just going to show you same type of thing. Look at all of those strays that you can't see with your naked eye, but you can see that this element is just a mess. There's little stray pixels. Oh, we're already at 100%. There's little stray pixels all the way around the edge of this tape. So you would want to clean this up before you use it in a kit so that you've got a good quality element. Once you get it all cleaned up, if you do it, like I said, I like to do it with the stroke on because it's easy to see where everything is. I would probably zoom into this, fit it on my screen so that it's bigger so that you can see a little better, and you can just use your eraser tool to get rid of it. You can select a full area. Since this has got somewhat of a straight edge, you can probably use your whatever this tool is called, your select tool, and draw a rectangle, rotate it so that it lines up with your edge where this is straight. And then just delete all of those at the same time. So hit your delete key and just get rid of all of those stray pixels at once. So now, obviously that's blurry because I've got it way bigger than 100%. Go back to actual pixels and you can see how clean that edge is. So you can just do that same thing with your rectangle select tool and delete all the way around the edges. You're going to need to use your eraser up in this tear to be able to delete all the stray pixels that are in there. But anyway, that is how to use the stray pixel check. Again, make sure that you're viewing your elements at 100% when you're checking. So if you've got a ribbon at 100%, it's going to take up more than your screen. So you'll need to use the scroll key to go back and forth so that you're checking from end to end. Especially check around the edges, because if they've extracted it, sometimes there are things missing up around the top and bottom side edges as well as around the element. So anyway, that's hopefully helpful to you. If you've got any other questions, leave comments and I will try to watch for and answer those. that's just another thing that's part of that action that I've sent to you guys so that you kind of know how to use it. Again, the smooth edges works really well if you've got little stray pixels on things that are not transparent or really thin. Otherwise, you'll need to use your eraser tool to clean those up. So I've covered the stroke. Again, there's different colors. I've covered how to smooth your edges in the first tutorial that I did. And I've covered the gamut. Resizing is really good for your previews if you're doing them at 1200 by 1200. I don't think I really need to do a tutorial on that. It just resizes it to the 600 by 600 size that we need to upload into the store and into the galleries. So that should be fairly simple for you. I will be doing some additional tutorials a little bit later. If you've got questions, let me know. I'm going to be doing one on missing pixels and on how to QC an element. I've done papers, but I haven't really gone over elements clearly yet. So I will show you how to do those manually for those of you that aren't able to use the action. I will talk to you ladies later.